Tonight, and probably for several weeks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive deep into the theological impacts. As with anything, what man invents or what happens in the world can be used for good, it can be used for evil. There's a lot of good applications that's going to come out of this technology, but the end road is going to be something that is going to extend beyond our human control. The things that AI will do is something like out of watching a sci-fi movie. And things like surveilling all people in the world at one time simultaneously live and knowing what all people are doing. AI in the beast system is something that makes Revelation 13 plausible in every sense of the way. Even today. Revelation 13 describes a worldwide system of worship, economic control, and persecution, authoritarian leadership. But what is so explicit about Revelation 13 is how the entire world is compelled to follow after these systems all at once through compulsion. I remember as a young boy hearing about some of this, and we couldn't fathom what that might be 40 years ago, 30 years ago. It was something that was way out in the purview of who we were as a society. Today, and as they are pushing, and this is a very big push, there is an actual sort of like an arms race, especially between the U.S. and China, to push these. And if you saw the president's speech last night, one of the things he was talking about was bringing a Taiwanese company into the U.S. for the purpose of making these quantum chips. AI is the perfect mechanism to facilitate the beast system described in chapter 13 of Revelation. Now let's quickly look at some of those things. Surveillance and control. That's one of the motives of the Antichrist. Is it not? He's going to be someone that is going to be demanding compliance with all people at all times. And one of the things they say is that, everybody's going to be marked. You're not going to be able to buy or sell unless you have that mark. That mark is a symbol of total submission. We have RFID chips. This is already happening in China, by the way. China has a social credit system that will give you the ability of how far you can go in society or what you're able to buy or your economic well-being based upon your compliance to the CCP. AI is already doing facial recognition and biometrics, but that could be tracked on the scale of global populace. It's one thing to have a digital ID, it's another thing to manage it. Right now that has to be pretty much managed by people. Somewhat by automation of computers, but you go to the dealership today to buy a car, there's going to probably, if you're buying an expensive car, someone's going to run your credit score, they're going to run all these things to make sure that you can buy the thing that you're going to do. That can all be done through automation and AI. Revelation 13 talks about how every person will be engaged in digital ID. There's a great push today for CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, to be employed. This is all kind of a setup for global control of the currencies, one currency. The mark of the beast, probably a biometric with blockchain-based AI-controlled system. No transactions without compliance. So you become a little bit rebellious against the beast system. They can shut you down. Now, here's the interesting thing about what they're talking about is that through Neuralink and through some of these things, they will actually be able to process your thoughts and your emotions. They're talking about using this in corporate applications to make sure that you're spending your time at work doing what you're supposed to be doing at work. If you're disgruntled or something like that, well, then they'll bring in the human resources to make sure that you're staying in line. This isn't science fiction anymore. This is real life. CBDCs, again, powered by AI, who could control who could buy or sell based upon the allegiance to the Antichrist. Why do I bring all this up today? Because some of us are probably sitting there thinking, well, we're out of here. Why does it matter? Because I want you to see how close and quickly we're edging towards the Great Tribulation. And the faster we move to that mark, the closer it is to that we're going up, right? So that means a couple of things. First of all, lift up your heads, for your redemption is drawing nigh. Second of all, time is of the essence for us to be sharing the gospel with everyone in every possible way. Well, people call me crazy. People call me a Jesus freak. That's okay. Let them do it. Who cares? There may be a few people that will come along and say, you know what? That's pretty crazy, and I didn't know the Bible talked about these things. So now you have information. Now you have a little bit more clarity on what is happening and how things are developing. So when you're talking to your coworker, you're talking to your neighbor, there are things that you are seeing in our world now that are directly correlated to what the Bible has clearly said. Europe. Because President Trump sent Zelensky. They got into it in the White House or the Oval Room, apparently, and Zelensky got mad and Trump got mad and they left without signing a deal. You know what Europe is saying now? We need a good, solid global leader to keep all this together. This is part of the global narrative now. These are things that are happening real time and active right now. Third, the AI beast system will bring a tremendous amount of deception. 2 Thessalonians, I'm going to talk about this in more detail next week, but 2 Thessalonians talks about how the Antichrist and his system is going to bring mass deception to the world. Well, AI-generated propaganda and deception will be just that. We're already dealing with deep fakes today. You can generate deep fake movies and videos, pictures, recordings that sound and look exactly like the original through AI technology. How fast would a quantum AI system be able to generate that? And they don't need someone to program that in. That's just going to happen automatically. AI can create hyper-realistic deep fakes, and that can bring about false miracles and digital gods to deceive the world. Remember a few years ago I showed you a concert of this hologram, this little girl that's up there dancing, and she's singing in Japanese, and everybody's going crazy over this hologram dancing on the stage like it was something that was actually real. And this thing is generating hundreds of millions of dollars every concert. This is the kind of worship that an AI false god could bring. The false prophet could use AI-powered holograms or digital entities to make the Antichrist appear omnipresent. Because that's really what the Antichrist is, isn't it? It's a counterfeit to Jesus. It's a counterfeit to the Christ. He's a fake. He can't create anything. He can't do anything. He can't do miracles, so he has to deceive the world through false miracles. Lastly, we have AI as controlled persecution. And we talked about a little bit about this last week, about how there could be compliance through drones, robotic enforcers, citizen, let me see your mark, or whatever, I'm going to scan you now. Shh, oh, you're one of those crazy Christians. Smart city surveillance could identify, track, and eliminate those who refuse to worship the beast. AI-enhanced predictive policing could preemptively arrest Christians and dissidents before they even act. Not doing this to scare you, not doing this to make you fear what's going on, but to encourage you to look at the world around you, and as Jesus said, lift up your heads, for redemption is drawing nigh.